Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. We're going to get started here in just a second. If someone could type hello or I can hear you or something in the chat box, that would really be appreciated. I just want to make sure you're seeing the screen and that you're hearing me all right. Great. Thanks, Corey. Hello. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. There's always a little bit of a delay with Webinar Jam as to what I'm saying and when you guys actually hear it. So I have to learn to be patient about that. So we're going to be getting going here, and I just want to welcome everybody to tonight's webinar on overlooked causes of Hashimoto's, what you need to know. I'm going to be taking myself off the screen here because I think it's a little bit of a distraction during the webinar itself. And then I'm going to come back on here at the end and answer any questions that you have. So hi, Jean. Thanks for being here. So I have a lot of information to share with you guys tonight. And I'll try to keep this, to an hour and be respectful of everybody's time. So we're going to get started here. And like I said, first of all, I just want to welcome you to tonight's talk on overlooked causes of Hashimoto's, what you need to know. And I do have lots to share with you for sure. But I'll also be sharing information with you at the end about my new program, which I'm super excited about, called the Revitalize Your Thyroid program. And there's so much information I have put into that program, which I'll be sharing with you. But first, I just want to say I'm glad you were here, and I know your time is valuable, and there are likely other things you could be doing right now. I hope at the end of the webinar that you will have a better understanding of how Hashimoto's, an autoimmune disease, can be triggered and what the commonly overlooked causes may be. I will also be providing you with some important takeaway tips. If you don't have a paper and pen in front of you now, I'd encourage you to grab that so you can take notes, because there's going to be a lot of information in tonight's webinar. I don't know if you know that Hashimoto's is one of the most common and most taxing autoimmune disorders that a lot of women face. And in fact, women are 8 to 10 times more likely to be diagnosed with this condition over men. Lucky us, huh? So who is tonight's webinar for? It's for you if you're someone looking to get to the root cause of your health issues. You're feeling frustrated that you're not getting answers, and that you're ready to be proactive with your health, or you suspect you may have, or you have been diagnosed with a thyroid condition. Tonight, I will be walking you through the deeply rooted causes behind Hashimoto's and reveal to you the one secret that your health care practitioner isn't sharing with you about your symptoms. Actually, there's probably a lot of things your health care provider is not sharing with you about your symptoms. And quite honestly, they may most likely don't know it. They weren't taught it. It's not top of mind. And if they didn't learn it in school, it doesn't exist. And we know that's not true. So if you're tired of the exhaustion and holding on to that extra weight, and just, feeling frustrated that there's always something kind of off, know that your frustration and emotional pain of not having your symptoms validated are over. I want you to, if nothing else, by the end of tonight, know that your symptoms are real. I really want to help you get answers. So tonight, I'll lead you in the direction that finally helps you get the answers that you have been seeking and you deserve. So grab that pen and paper and get ready to take some notes, because this information is imperative to rejuvenating your body and overcoming those symptoms once and for all. Now, of course, before I go any further, I have to give you my loving disclaimer that the information I'm about to share with you is for educational and information purposes only, and is not a substitute for seeking appropriate medical care. So, and also be sure and stay to the end, and I'll be sharing more about the Revitalize Your Thyroid program with you. And I will be also very happy to answer whatever questions you have at the end of tonight's webinar. Before we get started, though, please introduce yourself in the chat box if you haven't already, and say hello. Let me know where you're from, and if you suffer from a thyroid condition. And if you do you have Hashimoto's? Have you just been diagnosed with hypothyroidism? I'd love to know where you're coming from for tonight. And while you're doing that, I just want to introduce myself as well. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lori Dankoff. I am a functional medicine nurse practitioner, and I have been in practice for many years. Functional medicine has been a big part of my practice as long as I have been a nurse practitioner. As a functional practitioner, I'm going to look at your unique and complex mix of interactions between nutrition, your physical activity, your stress, and all that goes on in your life that can be contributing to your health issues. This does not mean giving you a pill for every ill. What you may not know about me is I was also diagnosed with hypothyroidism several years ago, and the symptoms sneaked in over time. I was a busy mom, working full-time as a nurse and going to graduate school. Let me just say I was burning the candle at both ends and trying to power through. And you know what? I hit the brick wall like many of us do. My weight was going up and the fatigue was overwhelming. Like many women, I kept pushing myself forward until I could not ignore what was happening any longer. I ended up on thyroid medication at the time. I did not know I had a choice. I knew nothing about all the factors that were likely had contributed to my thyroid condition at that time. But now I do, and I have immersed myself into finding out the why so I could get to the how to heal. And that is why I'm here to help other women just like me. There is hope. You're not crazy, and your symptoms are real. And Corey, I want to say hello and glad to see you here live in Chicago. You were diagnosed with Hashimoto's about a year ago, so I have a lot of great information for you tonight, Corey. I have two sisters that actually live in the Chicago area, like visiting there myself. Hi, Denise. It's nice to see you here as well. So we're going to keep going here because, like I said, we have a lot of information. And so if this is your first time hearing me or hearing the term functional medicine, let me just take a moment to explain this approach to you so you kind of know where I'm coming from. Basically, functional medicine is a very individualized approach to your care. And my top objective when I meet with people is to first listen to their story. You know, so many of us go to our healthcare practitioners and they see the symptoms in the synopsis of why you're there, and they've already formulated a lab or a pill to give us. And that was very frustrating. How can we possibly know what a person needs when we haven't even heard what they had to say? And giving you the time to say it. And functional medicine is really geared to help you do that. Some key principles of functional medicine is that we are all unique individuals with varying needs based on our genetics, our environment, and our unique health history. Therefore, your care should be very individualized. In order to do that, it is important that I, as the clinician, first listen to your story, as this will be the guidepost to getting to the root cause and will direct the path to helping you to heal. This means taking a very holistic approach to treatment that is focused on the root cause of each issue rather than simply treating the symptoms of the disease or condition. Functional medicine is revolutionizing the medical field, and I think we're going to hear more and more about it. Cleveland Clinic has a huge functional medicine department, and it's growing by leaps and bounds. This is what we need to reverse the chronic disease epidemic that we have in this country. You know, really, functional medicine really provides that framework we need to help people get to the root cause of what's going on with them, and then directing their care from that versus just treating those symptoms. So let's get into things. Many women have a tendency not to speak their voice. And one way this may manifest is in your throat chakra, where your thyroid resides. As this quote reminds us, be your true self and speak your truth, even if you are the only one doing it. And why do I say that? Our thyroid is there. You, like me, have likely put your own wants and needs aside to serve others, not wanting to disappoint someone else or make them unhappy. So what do? You swallow your words and what you truly want to express. Over time, this takes a toll on your health and can take a toll on your thyroid. You are here tonight because you want to learn more about the thyroid health and Hashimoto's. So let's first of all define what Hashimoto's is. So Hashimoto's disease, or Hashimoto's thyroiditis, as defined by the Women's Department of Health, is an autoimmune disease that damages the thyroid gland. Hashimoto's disease often leads to hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism, when severe, can cause your metabolism to slow down, which can lead to weight gain, fatigue, and numerous other symptoms as well. Women are at the greatest risk for this condition. In fact, Hashimoto's is most prevalent in women between the ages of 20 to 60 years of age. Furthermore, women are 8 times more likely to develop autoimmune thyroid disease than men. Statistically speaking, 1 in every 8 women will develop a thyroid condition at some point in her life. And this is probably no surprise to many of you listening. You know, experts say thyroid disorders are frequently misdiagnosed, and that is certainly what I have seen. So the numbers are likely far higher than even this estimate. In fact, my own family, 5 of us women have hypothyroidism. I am one of 8 sisters, and that means we're higher than the statistic. You know, that means 5 out of 8 women in my family have a thyroid condition. So what puts women at risk for Hashimoto's? As you can see here, there are several factors that can be contributing to the development of Hashimoto's, but this is certainly not all, which you will soon see. So as you can see here, there's the family history, like in my family, a previous thyroid disorder that maybe resolved itself. Pregnancy and postpartum is a real common time for women to develop a thyroid condition with all the fluctuating hormones. If you have the presence of another autoimmune condition, that increases your risk. Having any kind of surgery or radiation around the thyroid, iodine deficiencies, diabetes, having a goiter or thyroid nodules increases your risk. As you can see here, there are lots of things, including environmental toxins and increasing age. So look at here, we have a whole lot of symptoms that are associated with Hashimoto's. So take a look at this list, and I want to ask you, how many of these symptoms are you experiencing? Just kind of count through there and kind of figure that out, and then type in the chat box the number of symptoms you are experiencing. If I look at this myself, back to when I developed a thyroid condition, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just at a glance, I had about 10 or 11 of these symptoms myself prior to my diagnosis. So you can kind of look through there and see how many of your symptoms that you're seeing. This is a long list of symptoms. And why are there so many symptoms associated with Hashimoto's? Did you know that thyroid hormones exist on virtually every cell of your body? So it stands to reason it can affect almost every function of the body, and why we can have so many symptoms associated with Hashimoto's as well, or hypothyroidism for that matter. Many people, their biggest complaint often stems from the fatigue and the weight gain, but many can feel cold all the time. They can have mood swings. They can have a lot of brain fog. And so many of those symptoms are listed here. Constipation, dry, itchy skin, hair loss. Those are all known thyroid symptoms. So let's start to take a closer look at what causes Hashimoto's. First of all, the exact mechanisms of this autoimmune disease are not well understood. What I can tell you is it is very complex. It is believed that by Hashimoto's or autoimmune specialists, if you will, that work in the arena of functional medicine, we know that there are so many variables that can contribute to a thyroid condition and Hashimoto's. And that's why just simply giving you a pill doesn't always fix the issue, because you could have infections, toxins, stress, your genetics, diet, gluten intolerance, and environmental triggers, especially exposure to endocrine disrupting toxins. These are all factors involved in the development of autoimmune thyroid disease. Female sex hormones such as estrogen also play a role in thyroid disease, as thyroid dysfunction is most common during times of significant hormonal shifts, as we saw, including pregnancy and postpartum. It also can occur in menopause or when using synthetic hormones like birth control pills. For me, my symptoms began in perimenopause in my 40s. And this is really very common. Now let's take a look at root causes with this diagram. I hope you have your pen and paper out. So factors that affect thyroid function, and this is from the Institute of Functional Medicine. So take a good look at this slide here. What we have are factors that contribute to proper thyroid function in the upper left. And under that, we have factors that increase the conversion of T4 to that RT3, which is reverse T3. And this is the inactive form of thyroid hormone. We also have factors that inhibit the proper production of thyroid hormone, and factors that help increase or improve our conversion of T4 to T3. And then in the bottom right there, we have factors that help to improve cellular sensitivity. So I'm just going to talk about each one of these a little bit. So factors that help us produce our thyroid hormone. We need to have the right nutrients, and a lot of people are nutrient depleted or deprived, partly due to the lack of nutrition in diet, or they're not absorbing the nutrients from the food they are eating. Nutrient depletion in the soils from which a lot of our foods come. So we need iron and iodine, tyrosine, zinc, selenium, vitamin E, B vitamins, C, and D. All these are really important to helping us make our thyroid hormone. And if we're deficient in some of these, it can be harder for our bodies to produce it. Then let's say you're producing enough of your thyroid hormone, but it's not getting utilized. It's not converting over to its most active form, which is T3, and more of it's becoming reverse T3. Now we need some reverse T3. That's kind of like a checks and balance for our thyroid hormone, but you can have higher reverse T3 with stress or trauma, extreme calorie limitations, eating like, you remember the HCG diet? It was, you were getting 500 calories a day. Well, that's a big stressor to the body. Toxins and infections, liver and kidney dysfunction, and certainly certain medications can all make it harder for that T4 to become the active T3, and then it becomes the more inactive reverse T3. Factors that can inhibit proper production of the thyroid hormone are the same things that kind of go with the reverse T3 issue, including stress, infections, trauma, radiation, fluoride, is a huge thing. Try to go, fluoride free toothpaste. I don't think we need to have fluoride in our water. That's a whole nother story, and I could speak on that for an hour. Pesticides, heavy metals like mercury, cadmium, lead, and other autoimmune conditions like celiac disease. Then things that help increase that conversion is making sure we're getting enough selenium and zinc in our diet. But there's a Goldilocks rule with selenium and zinc. We only need about 200 micrograms of selenium a day. Zinc, I think it's around 15. Some people might need a little bit more than that. And then factors that improve the cellular sensitivity to thyroid hormones. So what that means is when that thyroid hormone goes to the cell, to go into the cell to be used, you might just say you have like these little bridges around that cell. And if you don't have enough bridges, which are our receptor sites for that hormone to get into the cell to be utilized, it can just kind of bounce around off of there and it can't find its way in. So things like vitamin A, exercise, and zinc are going to help improve that sensitivity. So as I said, there's a lot of great information in this slide from the Institute of Functional Medicine that really kind of points out all the different things that can be going on that can impede your thyroid function. So now that you know what factors affect your thyroid function, let's take a look at thyroid testing. If you have or suspect you may have a thyroid condition, first see your healthcare provider to be evaluated. You can then ask to have a thyroid panel ran. Here is where I have to say many people end up frustrated. Many providers will not see the value in running a comprehensive thyroid panel. These include endocrinologists who are thyroid experts. Why? Because they did not learn to test or see the value in a more comprehensive analysis gleaned from testing beyond, oftentimes doing a thyroid stimulating hormone or TSH, and possibly a free T4. Then there is what insurance may or may not pay for. You can ask your provider for some of these tests listed. Just know you may be paying out of pocket for these tests. If they refuse, seek out a provider that is willing to test. Now, in all fairness, many practitioners will also not know what to do with the information once they have it because they were never taught what to do with the information. So this is where seeing a functional practitioner like myself or others can be a great value to you. So here's a list of the necessary thyroid tests you will need to better evaluate your thyroid health. Now, this is not an all-inclusive list by any means, but these are the big ones that I would recommend that really can give you a sense of what's going on with that thyroid. And that includes the TSH, which is the thyroid stimulating hormone, your free T3, a free T4, a TPO antibody, that's thyroid peroxidase antibodies, because this can help us in diagnosing Hashimoto's. This is one I use when I know somebody's got Hashimoto's, and I use it as a gauge to the progress they're making up or down by looking at those antibodies. And then there's a thyroglobulin antibody test, and this is often used for evaluation and diagnosis of Graves' disease, and it's utilized as a monitor with thyroid cancer as well. Now let's just take a minute to discuss thyroid hormone basics, which I do have for you right here. These are just some basic things to know about thyroid. So the pituitary gland in the brain releases a hormone called thyroid stimulating hormone. So that's only telling us what's going on up in that head. It's not telling us what happens to your thyroid hormone after that. This TSH is the hormone we always hear about and the one that is usually first checked by the medical team if you're suspected of having a thyroid issue. Now, when the TSH makes its way to the thyroid gland itself, it stimulates the release of two thyroid hormones, T3 and T4. So T4 has to be converted to T3. The T4 is the storage or inactive form of thyroid hormone. It's mostly inactive, I should say. And T3 is known as the active form of the thyroid hormone and is 5 times more active than T4. The majority of hormone released by the thyroid is T4, but this is why you want that to be converted, and nobody's ever checking that free T3 level. So how do they ever know that you're even utilizing it correctly? That's always been really frustrating for me, and I know it's likely been frustrating for you too. So approximately 80 to 93% of hormone released by your thyroid is in fact your T4, but only a small amount of that becomes that active T3. We need just a little bit, but it's also that little bit's very, very important. So what are some ways to help you improve your thyroid conversion? First, it is important to note that T4, as I mentioned, is converted into usable T3, but part of this happens in the liver, in the kidneys, and the gut, and 20% is happening in your gut. So if we're not taking good care of our guts, our thyroid's going to suffer. That is why all healing begins in the gut. And if you're someone that's been around me for any length of time, you know how much I stress this. And if you are taking thyroid hormone replacement and still aren't feeling well, it is important to evaluate thyroid health roadblocks, starting with your gut health. Having a healthy liver is also critical as well. To keep your liver clean, consider increasing your consumption of green foods, adding in some liquid chlorophyll, some healthy smoothies, now not smoothies full of sugar, juicing. I'm primarily looking at vegetable juicing here. Burdock tea, dandelion tea, and lemon water. Those are all known to be good liver cleansers. And then support your kidneys. It's important to not overuse over-the-counter prescription medications or anti-inflammatories are notorious for being hard on the kidneys. You want to stay hydrated, keep your blood pressure in check, watch your blood sugars, and avoid or limit your consumption of alcohol as well. And then to improve your gut health, you can start by eliminating some food sensitivities or food allergens that you may have or suspect you may have by doing an elimination diet. You may need to take a probiotic, but this can also be dependent on your current state of health and your diet. And you may also benefit from, some cultured foods in your diet, such as organic sauerkraut or kimchi. The organic sauerkraut one is in kimchi. Ideally, you can make those or you get them in the organic refrigerated section of your health food store. And you don't want to overeat as well, and you want to make sure that you're having regular bowel movements. So those are some of the things to start with to help with that thyroid conversion, keeping a healthy liver, kidneys, and gut. Medication, as I mentioned, is often not enough to help. So we're going to kind of get into that here next. So it's important to have a healthy lifestyle when you're looking at your thyroid, and don't rely simply on the medication. You want to look for those hidden roadblocks. And I go into a lot more detail about some of these roadblocks in the Revitalize Your Thyroid program, which I don't have enough time this evening to share with you, but just know there's a lot of different things that can be going on. And one of those hidden roadblocks to look at is your immune system, as you see here. So what about your immune system, you may ask? So like medication can be required, but it cannot be enough for everybody. And a lot of people get disappointed when they don't lose a lot of weight when they go on medication. One thing your provider may not have explained to you is thyroid medication only addresses the hormone component of your Hashimoto's. Thyroid medication is essential hormone replacement for many, and it does not treat the autoimmune component of the Hashimoto's or the things that are causing those antibodies to be elevated. This is where we get into some of those roadblocks like hidden infections, food sensitivities, environmental toxins, nutrient deficiencies, and so forth. So if your immune system does not get its much needed TLC, it will continue to attack your thyroid and over time cause serious health problems for many. So studies have shown that women with Hashimoto's are at a higher risk for developing other autoimmune disorders. And I certainly have seen that in my practice, not all, but some do have more than one autoimmune condition. Now, many women with Hashimoto struggle with their weight, and this can be due to many factors, one of which is the hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis dysregulation. Say that 3 times real fast, which this is the communication, basically your brain to your thyroid gland. And this can lead to problems with that thyroid hormone conversion and decreased sensitivity of the thyroid hormone receptors to effectively utilize the thyroid hormone produced. And that may be taken via the thyroid hormone replacement medication. So we need to have appropriate conversion of these thyroid hormones. That's kind of the bottom line. And some of these things I'm talking about tonight are certainly things that can be preventing that from happening. Now, many women, we're going to talk a little bit about medication here, as I mentioned. Many women are hopeful that once they start thyroid medication that their weight will start to come off, as I mentioned. But this often is not the case. They might feel a bit better, but they might not see significant weight loss. And many of us, myself included, when diagnosed with a thyroid condition, were put on levothyroxine or name brand Synthroid. And for some, this works fine to help, make them feel a little better, but it's really not addressing some of the root issues. So unless you start to look at the immune system a little more and things that are causing chronic inflammation that can be damaging that thyroid, it's going to be harder to get the answers that you want or to feel better when you went to your provider for in the first place. You want to feel better. So at this point, you might be wondering, we're talking about inflammation, we're talking about the immune system. So how do we begin to reduce the inflammation? So this is some of the information that you're probably going to want to write down because these are some various ways to help reduce inflammation. First of all, you want to reduce your exposure to endocrine disrupting hormones. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about endocrine disrupting hormones here in a moment. But you also want to start eliminating foods that can cause inflammation for you. This can be coffee and grains, industrialized cooking oils, refined sugar, alcohol, nightshade foods, which would be like tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, and peppers. High lectin foods, these are, your beans would be an example, and processed foods. Now, the reason you do a food elimination is because you may be eating very healthy foods, but if you happen to be sensitive to them, that can be a source of inflammation for you. So you also want to work on reducing stress and improving happiness in your life. The state of mind is very important. I know we live in a very, very stressful world. One of the things you might start doing is not listening to the news every night because that's very stressful. And when needed, take supplements to reduce inflammation. Curcumin's a great one, collagen. For some probiotics, you want to support your adrenals, possibly with adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha. There's a definitely thyroid adrenal connection. All of our hormones do not sit in little boxes by themselves like we in conventional medicine would like to tell you. But if one hormone's impacted, the others are going to be impacted. They're very intimately connected. It's like a domino effect. You want to detoxify your liver, and you do this first by good nutrition, drinking plenty of water, moderate exercise. Infrared saunas are great for this as well. You want to heal that leaky gut, which is very common. My guess is we all have some degree of leaky gut. It's just a matter of how bad is it and how much is it impacting other aspects of our health. We want to balance our other female hormones, especially estrogen. We want to move the body. And like I said, we want to sweat. And, I was a perfect example where I was not sweating. So if I went outside and mowed the lawn, I would get beet red and overheat easily because I wasn't sweating. And I think doing some infrared saunas has helped me to sweat better myself. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the endocrine disrupting hormones. There are many different endocrine disrupting hormones in our environment that we all have to deal with on a daily basis. So let's take a look at that. So our endocrine system disruptors are everywhere, unfortunately, and are toxic to our hormone balance. One of the biggest hormone disruptors, aside from things like glyphosate, which is in Roundup, that should be banned. We are hearing all kinds of issues about Monsanto and lawsuits, and the evidence and the research have been there for many years. It's finally getting the attention it deserves. Quite honestly, I think it should be off the market. That's my opinion. But there can be hormone disrupting things in other garden and farm chemicals. It's hidden in skincare and makeup. This is a huge source of endocrine disruption. And these, contribute to the Hashimoto's, can make it worse. So it's important to reduce your exposure to these as much as you can. There are several environmental toxins found in today's standard personal and skincare products, as you can see here on this screen. First of all, aluminum. That's in antiperspirants and deodorants, so you want to use an aluminum-free deodorant or antiperspirant. I highly don't recommend perfumes. They're known to be an issue, and a lot of people are sensitive to perfumes. They're in nail polish, they're in hairsprays, they're found in tampons, unless you're using some organic ones that are now available out there. They're found in laundry care products, so try to go as all natural as possible. They're definitely in lotions and makeup and shampoos and conditioner, and that's why I'm a big supporter of Beauty Counter. So you want to try to switching out things in your bathroom, in your laundry room, to safer chemical-free products. And for skincare, for yourself, for your family, Beauty Counter is one that I do recommend. Now, aside from dealing with these environmental toxins, these hormone disruptors, and stress, it's important to have a positive mindset. It's good to work on the diet. It's good to work on eliminating the environmental and the stress and all other things that can influence Hashimoto's, but it's also important to change our mindsets. We can get in a rut sometimes because we're so frustrated with our health. But our thoughts and reactions to life can have a profound influence on our health. So I just want to talk a little bit about that here. So have you ever tried to have a positive conversation with yourself? This means letting go of negative internal self-dialogue and stress. Both things can suppress your immune system's ability to function and aren't serving you or your thyroid health journey. You can do this by simply adding I am affirmations to your morning and evening routine. Things like, I am whole. I am healing. I am perfect. I am happy. These are all great ones to start with. If you don't know what to say, just start with one or all of them. You want to do this even on the days you don't feel like it. In fact, these are the days you likely need those positive affirmations the most. Find the I am statement that resonates with you the most and start saying them out loud every morning and every night. And for even stronger results, say these statements to yourself while looking in the mirror. I don't know if you're familiar with Louise Hayes, but she was a very inspirational person who had breast cancer and started doing positive affirmations. And that was one of the ways that she claimed that she helped to heal herself. And she died a couple years ago in her 90s. She was the founder of Hay House Books and Radio. So she is a great example of, if you need additional inspiration, I would go to Hay House and look at some of what they offer to kind of help you. But just simple I am statements every day can, really help get you started off on the right foot every day, and also help you to feel better about yourself every night when you go to bed too. Now, before I answer questions you might have and tell you more about the Revitalize Your Thyroid program, let's talk about the autoimmune protocol. We've all heard lots about this. It's very popular right now, and many people have found benefit from it. So I do want to touch on that here tonight. So if you've not heard of the autoimmune protocol, better known as AIP or autoimmune paleo, it is an elimination diet to help individuals suffering from autoimmune disease discover their food triggers, such as we were talking about earlier, and also resolve any nutritional deficiencies, improve their gut health, and restore their body to wellness. The AIP diet is quickly becoming one of the most popular dietary approaches for Hashimoto's due to its effectiveness in reducing symptoms and improving the quality of life. This diet is an excellent integrative approach to your existing Hashimoto's treatment plan. For some, we're all individuals though. So the AIP elimination diet basically involves removing the following foods from your diet for a period of time. This includes dairy, eggs, grains, seeds and nuts, legumes and beans, nightshade foods, refined sugars, processed foods, and more. This can really be challenging though. A lot of people are going to get way overwhelmed at the thought of taking all of these out of their diet at once. There are some people that are going to be very motivated to do this, but there is some controversy behind that and how long you should stay on such a diet as well. So the elimination phase of the AIP is not intended to be followed forever. Some stay on it way too long. In fact, if you limit your diet and don't have healthy diversity in your diet in times, this could actually be counterproductive to your gut microbiome, because your gut microbiome, that's the bacteria balance in your gut, likes to have a lot of diversity, and we get that from eating a variety of healthy, nutritious foods. But if you are going to try doing an AIP, or you have tried doing an AIP, usually it's recommended doing this for 30 days. However, some might do it longer. So you just kind of have to decide what's going to be right for you. Some people will stay on it for like up to 90 days. Now, if you find, and I'm just going to go back to the previous slide, if you find that trying to eliminate all of these things at once is just too overwhelming, pick one thing. But one of the things I go into in my program is, what foods to do this. And I'll just give you a tidbit here. If you have Hashimoto's, the first two things I'm going to tell you to go off are gluten and dairy. They're very inflammatory. They can decrease the sensitivity of your cells to that thyroid hormone. And some people will see great benefit just from doing that. So if you take out gluten and dairy together or one at a time, like I said, do that for a month and see if you don't feel any better. So you may be wondering how the AIP diet can help if you do try it. So some ways that the AIP diet has been found to help is that it can support healthy thyroid conversion, as it improves gut health and reduces inflammation. With this diet, you are eliminating common food irritants or allergens that may be driving your symptoms. You're removing foods that have been known to promote gut permeability or leaky gut. A side benefit of an AIP is you will be consuming nutrient-dense foods. Though you're eliminating a lot of food, you're also consuming a lot of nutrient-dense foods to help nourish the body, improve your energy. For many, they will also see a reduction in things like swelling or edema, bloating, or even that hard to get rid of weight gain. So to review some of what we have covered this evening, if you have Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, or suspect you might, here are some things that you'll want to look at doing. You might start by trying an AIP diet or a food elimination diet. Test for root causes. So some of the tests that I do, I go into a lot more detail in the program, things like gut health, your other hormones, nutrient deficiencies, and so forth. You want to get a complete thyroid panel with all of the tests that I mentioned, like the TSH, the free T3, the free T4, the thyroglobulin antibodies, the thyroid peroxidase antibodies, because that's really, in reverse T3, that's really going to give you a lot of good information. You want to take a good hard look at your lifestyle, evaluate your habits. Are you eating healthy? Are you exercising? What's your stress level like? Are you sleeping? And if you need thyroid replacement hormone, it's important to get on the right thyroid replacement for you. There's more to thyroid replacement than just Synthroid or levothyroxine. There are lots of other options available. It's just getting someone to be willing to prescribe you those options. And one thing that I really don't go into too much tonight, I really didn't put in here, but I just thought about, I have several patients with Hashimoto's that I put on low-dose naltrexone. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's something that can help upregulate your immune system, may help with the Hashimoto's as well. And that's something I do talk about within the program. Now, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but before I do, I want to share information with you about the Revitalize Your Thyroid Signature Group Program. I am super excited about this and feel that together we can start a thyroid revolution. Having the tools and resources you need to take back control of your thyroid health and your overall health and vitality can be very empowering. My goal is to give you a voice when it comes to your thyroid health. I can't tell you how many stories I have heard from women in my care over the years who have felt like they have not had a voice when it comes to their health. Women have been dismissed and their symptoms not validated, or are told they are depressed or stressed or getting older, or that their labs are normal. And it's really sad for me to hear that and to see that happen over and over again. I would just like to take some of these people and put them in your shoes for 1 week so they know what it feels like to hear what you hear and feel what you feel. Therefore, I hope that you will join me for the Revitalize Your Thyroid program, where you will discover what can be causing you to feel the way you do, and even when your thyroid labs are normal. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of information about the program. The Revitalize Your Thyroid program, here's what I want you to think about or imagine. How would you feel if you could improve your thyroid health and you had more energy, you had a better mood, you had better digestion, and your hormone balance felt balanced? What I'm encouraging you to do is give me 8 weeks and I'll help you to get there and then some. This program is absolutely packed with information. So let me ask you, are you ready to end the suffering, whether you have Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, or suspect you may have a thyroid condition or want to get the answers that you deserve? You want to improve your thyroid health and boost your energy. You want to figure out which foods fuel your thyroid and which don't, because we go into this in the program. We want to find out what nutrients support your thyroid. We go into more detail than what you heard this evening. We're going to uncover those roadblocks that are preventing your thyroid from healing. We're going to find out what tests you need to evaluate thyroid function. We're going to go into more detail there, and how other hormones can help or hurt your thyroid function. And we're going to get clear on thyroid hormone replacement options. There's a little typo there, I see. And take the steps necessary to begin to healing your thyroid. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in and you know you want to feel better, then this program is definitely for you. So to get a peek at what's inside, you can click on the link on the right-hand side of your screen. You should be seeing that now. And you'll see all that's included in that program, but I'm going to go over a few things here. But when you click on that, you're going to see a lot more detail about what's in the program. And if you decide to join tonight, when you click on the buy now button on the page you come to, that $100 discount I'm going to be offering for the next 72 hours will be applied. But in the program, you're going to get 4 Revitalize Your Thyroid biweekly guides, overflowing with the information you need and your thyroid craves. So each week you're going to get steps that you can start taking to peel away those layers that are contributing to your Hashimoto's and your thyroid condition. You're going to get weekly meals and shopping lists. You're going to get a lot of recipes. There's a thyroid workbook with daily and weekly exercises to help keep you on track. And then there's information on nutrition and supplements and testing, treatment options, hidden root causes that are keeping your thyroid from working like it should. There's so much information in this program. At times you might think it might seem overwhelming, but the thing is, I want you to take it step by step. That we'll be going through this program, aspects of this program in 8 weeks. You might be at week 1 or 2 at week 8, and somebody else might be at week 8 at week 8. You want to go at your own pace through the program, because the last thing I want to do is for you to be stressed about this. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is I've divided this program up into 3 levels of entry, because I want this to be accessible. I want you to have this information. When you join at the bronze level, you will get access to all the program materials. And tonight, with it at $100 off, that's $197 instead of $297. And like I said, you are getting so much information in this program that you'll have access to. However, if you invest for a little bit more at the silver or the gold level, you will also get access to 5 live group coaching sessions with me and the group. And you'll have access to the private Facebook group where these live coaching sessions will be taking place. When you invest at the gold level, you will also be getting 4 one-on-one consultations with me, along with a personalized health protocol and a 10% discount on any supplements in my online dispensary as well. Everybody who joins the program are also going to get 9 additional bonuses worth over $500. And these are important supplements and additional support to you to help you with your thyroid health. You're going to learn about thyroid healing exercises. You're going to learn all about what foods could be making you sick. This is where I talk a lot about food sensitivities, ways of testing, signs and symptoms of food sensitivities. And what you'll see in there is you'll see that a lot of the symptoms you can have with a thyroid condition, you can have when you have food sensitivities too. You have a couple things there on stress, because if we don't manage our stress and we're not sleeping, we're not going to heal. This is so critical. It's hard to move forward if we don't get the stress level down and we're not getting adequate sleep. Just like I told you in the beginning, I was burning the candle at both ends. I wasn't getting enough sleep, and I developed a thyroid condition. So we're going to talk about stress hormones and women's overall health and all the different hormones that affect the thyroid. We're going to go over labs, or you also get access to a bonus on labs that can help reveal root cause. We will also be going over that in the program as well. You'll get access to a hypothyroidism nutrient well, like all the nutrients important to the thyroid. There's also a bonus on estrogen dominance, and a lot of women, when they develop a thyroid condition, they also have estrogen dominance. So we go into that with this bonus. And then 10 ways to live a dynamic life. And then there's some positive affirmations and healing inspiration for you as well, because I think that is super important. Now, as you're looking at this as well, I want you to start typing any questions you have in the chat box, and I'll be answering those shortly. Now, this part's really important with the program. For the next 72 hours, I am offering that $100 discount to you that will be automatically applied. Then the price goes back up. As you can see here, the bronze level, it's $197 right now. The silver is $297. And the gold is $997. And when you click on the page that says join now and you scroll down, you'll see in detail what's included in each level for you. So be sure and take a look at that. And if you know any other women that need this program, please be sure and share it with them so they too can get in on this very important program as well. So our first live coaching session for those that join at the silver or gold level will be happening this coming Monday night, August 12th. And that's for all the silver and gold members that join. And if you can't join those sessions live, I'll be doing them at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. That'll be 7 Central and 8 o'clock Eastern, or 5 Pacific. If you can't join live, once you're in that group, you'll be able to post questions that maybe you want to have answered that night, and I'd be happy to answer any questions people have or concerns. So to get started, be sure and click on the Join Now link on the right-hand side of your screen, and this will take you to the page with all the program details and where you can sign up and get the early discount as well. So now I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So please type those in the chat box now. Now's your opportunity to get those questions answered for free. So while you're doing that or thinking about joining the program, I just want to ask you, can you imagine how you're going to feel if you can improve your thyroid health? I mean, so many women are suffering. They just don't have enough energy. They're dealing with brain fog. I felt like I was walking in quicksand all the time. And I really want you to be able to enjoy and improve your health. So please ask any questions that you have right now before we end tonight, because I'd be happy to answer those. I do want you to feel better. I want you to have a better quality of life. And I want you to find that hormone balance. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions come up. I'll wait here just another minute for you and be happy to answer those. And like I said, if you're not sure if the program is right for you, if you have a thyroid condition, there's so much information in this program that is right for you. Okay, well, I don't see any questions coming in. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining me this evening. And if you have any questions after the webinar, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to type my email address in here for you to email me directly if you have a question that comes up afterwards. You can email me at pathtohealthandhealing@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have after the fact. All right, everybody. Well, have a great evening, and thanks for joining me.